Hello. Boom, we are live.
Hey,
Hi, I'm so excited about today. I took a break from doing CityClips Live for several weeks, but I'm so glad to be featuring our 103rd episode with Mike Campbell today.
hey, thanks for having me.
So I will do a quick intro of Mike for those of you who aren't aware. CityClips is all about North Florida business and tech. Michael, also known as Mike Campbell, is the Chief Business and Industry Liaison at the FSU Office of Research, where he helps connect FSU's research talent with industry partners across Florida and beyond. Mike plays a key role in building collaborations that support innovation, tech development, and real-world impact. His work focuses on fostering relationships that drive meaningful solutions, support economic growth, and help translate university research into practical applications. He's passionate about bridging the gap between academia and industry and ensuring that great ideas have a pathway to make a difference. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So I know you have an entrepreneurial background, and I want you to dive into your story because you'll tell it best. But you also were part of JMI as the director. You'll probably tell the title better.
Yeah, it was the director of North Florida operations.
Yes, and so on, right? Like it just
Yep,
kept going.
yep,
And then you are also one of the original co-founders or starters of AERO, the
correct.
Alliance of Entrepreneurial Resource Organizations with Keith Bowers. That's one of the reasons why I had you on today, because I really wanted to feature the key partners of AERO. And so for those who aren't aware, especially the entrepreneurial community, that organization like AERO exists. And so, of course, I needed to feature you.
Yeah, it's actually a great story and how it got started. So,
Yeah.
you want me to dive into that?
Yes. Well, I wanted to go back to the beginning. What brought you to Tallahassee? You said you went to FSU and you ended up staying.
Yeah, so I went to FSU. I followed a girl. She went back home. I stayed here. And then I actually wiped out my knee in a flag football game. And my parents said, I went through almost a year of rehab because it was an ACL. And the doctors I handled the team did the surgery up here because they're the best. So I stayed up here, and my parents said either go get a job or go back to school. And so I went to work for what was back then First National Bank. You probably know as Capital City Bank. And so it goes that far back. I'm that old. So I worked for Capital City. I was in banking for 13 years. I then was spent a little bit of time with the being a financial advisor. I managed part of the endowment for the Able Trust, statewide grant foundation for disabilities. And I was asked by them to come be their vice president of endowment. And so I did that for a period of time, but I missed the private world. So I ended up buying a company down in Orlando that did reports for attorneys involved in securities litigation. And I brought the administration to Tallahassee. I kept the operation in Orlando, and that company went very well. I started a couple small techs on the way. Ended up selling it to my employees, and when I sold it to the employees, I thought, well, I'll take some time off, then I'll figure out what I'm gonna do. But the board of the Jim Moran Institute came to me and said, "Hey, we'd like you to look at this opportunity." So I thought I'd be at Florida State for about 3 years helping them, and I just finished 13 years. So they're very persuasive.
Didn't leave.
Yeah, no, I didn't leave. But everything happens for a reason, right? And so they brought me into the Jim Moran Institute because they wanted to beef up their programs, serve more people. At the time, they were doing mainly consulting. We created programs that they have in existence today. Well, one of the things I noticed was the other organizations, people weren't talking to each other. And I'm one of those people that like to work smart, not hard. And actually, the executive director of the Jim Moran Institute says that you have a banking background. Why don't you do financial analysis for companies? Well, I know how much work that is. And then I heard that the SBDC did that. So I went to lunch with Keith Bowers and I said, tell me about this. And so they get their funding based on hours that they help companies, and they don't charge for their service. So I said, great, I'll let you do that and I'll just promote you and we'll get a win-win. So it led into other things that we needed at JMI, but we had a small staff at the time. Like we had an expert speaker series that they said I needed to organize. Again, a lot of work. And so during that lunch, I found out that the SBDC did their executive small business week lunch, brought a speaker in. So I said, great, I'll sponsor it. You put my JMI name on it. You give me a table. And they needed money. We needed, the
Manpower.
Yeah. And it was a win-win. So I said, so what does everybody else do? So I was ready to do some more of this. And that's when we found out, Keith said, everybody's got their own little silo going. I said, well, let's get them together and talk. And so he had the first meeting at their annual breakfast. I sponsored the second one, and AERO was built from there. And AERO's goal is to get everybody together on a regular basis every 2 months and to talk about how we can collaborate. And that's the only purpose of AERO. I mean, that is what, and because of that, AERO's been around 11 years. And I think it was 11 years. And, strong. It's all a volunteer chair and vice chair, and it's a committee base. It's not even an organization. It's where all the members get to vote on what we do. And, we don't step on each other's toes, but we collaborate. And it's really made a big difference for Tallahassee and the ecosystem. So we're pretty proud about that.
Oh, it's great. And I've been able to sit in on the meetings there, just being a part of working with Bill and everything, Bill Ixon. And it was really cool to see everybody just engage with one another. And you really see that there's a partnership there and you're all on the same page after the same thing to, level up Tallahassee and economic development.
Well, I always said there isn't a single organization that's got the finances or the manpower to help every company in Tallahassee, or the region. Okay, because we do, most of us help with the region. We have to collaborate because there's no way one organization, and I think all of them will agree with us, because there's too many companies that need help. And, Jim Moran created the Jim Moran Institute because there was a need to help existing businesses and businesses grow with the help of resources. And that's how he came to Florida State. Actually, the dean at the time got him to come to Florida State and build the Jim Moran Institute in 1995.
Yeah, and you were very instrumental with helping it expand. I think you mentioned Jacksonville, right? The officer.
Yeah. So we went to Mrs. Moran. The leadership went to her and came up with some ideas. And she said, well, what else can you do? And she wanted to honor her husband's 100th birthday. She said, what can you do with $100 million? And so, we said, well, we can do a lot. And so, and out of that, Jacksonville was in that initial proposal, along with expanding South Florida and going into Tampa. And that's what's going on today. And now it's even expanded more since I've left. But yeah, so we were able to get the Jacksonville and South Florida expansion through that gift. And it's over 20 years. But FSU is blessed to have Ms. Moran support, and she really cares about what we do, and she likes the outcomes that are coming out of it. So she'll tell you, Jim would be proud, and it was an honor to be part of that legacy.
Yeah, and the team is amazing there. Jim Moran College and everything related to JMI. Shout out to Marina Lixton, Dr. Susan Fiorito.
They've done a great job.
Yeah. And then, going to your role now at FSU Business and Industry Solutions. And I see this trend here. And like you mentioned, it seems like you help start things, get things started. And this is this role?
Then I move on.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's this distinction because people probably mix up. There's the Office of Research, right? And then there's the team under commercialization. That's separate.
Yeah, well, so let me go through that. So the Office of
Go
Research has a number of divisions. One division is the Strategic Partners in Innovation. That division has 3 areas under it. It has my area, it has commercialization, and it has faculty recognition. And it also has the incubator that's in town. That falls under the SPI team. And so my division, so what happened is I was helping research while I was with JMI. I was helping them with some companies with researchers. And one day they came to me, and right before COVID actually, and said, hey, we want to build this. Will you build it? Because we saw what you did at JMI. And I said, man, this is, JMI at that time was in autopilot. It was great. But I always like to challenge. And I said, yeah, I'd be interested in looking at this. And then COVID hit. So we had to wait till that was lifted. But it gave us time to kind of plan it out. And so after COVID, I came on and created this department. And the goal of our department is to work with companies to do research projects to help them and create solutions for their companies. And so we deal with companies all over the world. We have companies coming in almost daily. People always ask me, well, nothing's happening, so we don't hear about this. And I'm like, well, we have NDAs with companies. I can't talk to you about it. And we actually have companies that we're not allowed to say their name in a lot of cases because they don't want their competitors to know they're here. But there are a lot of companies now that we're working with that see the capabilities of FSU. Ever since our president current president, who's a researcher, came on board and brought on our vice president of research, Stacy Patterson from Tennessee. We have a new director at the Mag Lab she actually worked at GE for a time, so she comes from private industry. And our dean of the College of Engineering came from RPI. Ever since I've been in this role for 4 years now, I guess it's been 3 or 4 years, 4 years. It's been the research has taken this kind of trajectory, which means the industries now are starting to understand, more and more of our capabilities and how we can help them. And so we create win-win opportunities. So we meet with a company. It's, people talk about IP problems with universities. Ours is simple. What's yours is yours, ours is ours, and what's joint is joint. And then we work it out. Our commercialization team works it out. But we create win-win situations. And we have many, many, many companies that come back, do project after project after project because it is a good relationship. And the stuff we have, a lot of stuff we have is not at other universities. So it's been a lot of fun. No 2 days are the same. I will tell you that.
Yeah, that would be awesome to be able to work with, global companies nobody knows about, it's under the radar. That's definitely a privilege to be able to do that. So would you say because of your role, it's been 4+ years now, like you said, you've never seen this kind of activity, in all your years of being in Tallahassee and everything. So that's exciting. Would you say that everything's headed towards the right direction then in terms of economic development?
Yeah, so part of our role here is when I'm talking to companies, we obviously are letting them know that we're open for business, number one, but also we have land and facilities that they can move into. And so I work close with our director of real estate at FSU. I work close with OEV. I work close with all the economic development folks around the state because, we work together on companies. Florida State has a footprint in Panama City. We have a campus, and now we're building the Inspire program, which will be a hypersonic wind tunnel and the additive manufacturing facility that'll be prototyping. So when you see what's going on now and the where companies are, what they're doing with expansion, I think we have better opportunities than we've had in a long time, personally.
That's exciting. What do you think? I mean, people are now, even local Tallahassee folks are starting to see like, oh, wow, the Mag Lab is a big deal, or that it actually exists. Nobody realizes like we have the most powerful Mag Lab in the world. But there are other things at Innovation Park that not many people know about too. So I appreciate when AERO took the tour, with the wind tunnel and everything. What are you finding that companies are very interested in being, using research, like in terms of the assets that are there besides the Mag Lab?
Well, it depends on what they are, what their company is. For example, I had a company here Friday, the CEO, and they're interested in the Mag Lab. Well, they do business with the Mag Lab and with our Center for Advanced Power. Okay. Are they going to need the wind tunnel? No, not for what they do. Then you have companies that will come in. Fusion is starting to be a big thing. They need superconductivity, which we have a superconductivity center for that. You have contractors for the Navy. Well, they're coming in for the Center for Advanced Power because of the relationship we have with the Navy and the electrifying Navy ships. It really depends on the company and what their needs are. But the nice thing about Florida State is, and this was said to me the other day by a company, he said, some universities have 1, 2, 3 different types of research centers. We have a ton that intertwine. And what I mean by that is you have our high performance material institute that actually helps work on materials that is used in testing at our wind tunnel right next door. And then you have
that's great.
And then you have the same type of research by a researcher that's out at the Mag Lab, and they got to come over and use equipment at HPMI. Most people don't understand that our College of Engineering is a joint college with FAMU and FSU, but also every researcher and student, whether you're from FSU or FAMU, you have joint appointment to the other to be able to use those facilities. And so, that's a unique thing in Tallahassee that people don't realize. That's a big deal to companies. And so we have a lot of strength in our research assets for industry.
And I know and like we mentioned, I've been trying to get you on the show since the beginning of this year. So I'm so glad we were able to catch you on your crazy busy schedule. So I can imagine like your word of mouth is spreading about what FSU is doing and what FSU has. Like it's like best kept secrets, right?
It's true.
For a while, for a long time. And now it seems like everybody's starting to hear more about it.
Cat's out of the bag, and it needs to be out of the bag. And the stuff we have coming down the road is even more exciting, which I can't talk about right now. But
well, I know. Okay, well, Dan Foss saw the value of FSU a long time ago, 30 years ago. They invested heavily in building the company here. So everybody knows about Dan Foss. So and they saw the value of the Mag Lab. So that's been a great example.
It is. And what people don't understand, though, is without getting into detail, they actually take advantage of 4 of our different centers, not just the Mag Lab. And that's the type of thing companies like, is not to build where it's only a one and done, but to be able to have a multitude. And everybody needs power. So our Center for Advanced Power is in high demand. When you're talking about even in almost every industry, you've got materials, depending on the industry. Aerospace, it's a big deal. right, in defense. So when you put all these things together, and now we have a quantum center, which is a big deal now. And so when you put all these things together, I tell people I don't have to sell Tallahassee. I just have to show the value that matches what the company's needs are. That's all. And when that happens,
That's great.
It's a natural fit.
Yeah. And as these companies, decide to invest in being out here, and I know to be respectful of your time, we're going to wrap up soon.
That's okay.
It's then as growth happens, then people will move out here or live here, continue to live here and work for these companies.
Yeah, well, the CEO Friday said to me, he said one of the things that attracted him to come talk to us was he wants to make sure his employees are happy where they live. And he said Tallahassee is a great family town. He knew that. I mean, he did research before he got here. And so, people need to understand that that's a big deal to these companies.
So you stayed here, you raised your family here. What would you say is like your favorite part of Tallahassee, to wrap it up?
Personally, I like that Tallahassee is easy to get around. When I opened Jacksonville, when I hired a director over there, she said, "What was the one thing you expected me?" I said, "I expect you to get me out of here at 3:30 before rush hour, because Tallahassee, you can get anywhere. And it's easy to go get a restaurant. It's easy to go go do something. And it's a great family town, and we have great schools. And so, that's what I like about it is you don't have the hustle and bustle. That some of these cities, some people that complain about traffic need to go sit in Atlanta at 5 o'clock.
Or San Francisco, that's where I was. But I mean, you spend half the day in the car if you're in these bigger cities, but you do get access here in Tallahassee within a smaller range, and you get to drive around, even though traffic here is really not that bad.
It really isn't compared to other places.
Yeah. And I would have loved to have you longer to ask you more about, I appreciate you with everything in your background, even having grown a business with Orlando and still having set up shop here in Tallahassee. That was so.
My family wasn't moving, so I didn't have much of a choice there.
So you still successfully grew a business in another town. So that's another story. I would love to dive in another time. But
one thing I'll say about that is that prepared me to open the Jacksonville for JMI and be able to manage my staff from 170 miles away. So I have to say that was a great learning experience. It's like Jim says, everything you do in life and business, make sure you learn from it, because it will apply down the road if you're smart about it.
And that was back then without Zoom, without remote work, without all the things that make it so easy now.
Oh, no. I was driving to Orlando sometime twice a week.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. So it was a challenge. Yeah.
Is there anything you'd like to conclude with? Something inspirational before we say goodbye?
I would just say I'm really proud of where this town has come from a business side, from where it was. And I think people need to understand that the growth is here and it's coming, and it's good. It's going to benefit the community in the long run.
Well, thanks again, Mike. I appreciate you taking the time to be on the show.
Yeah, Julia, thank you for having me. This has been fun.
Yes, absolutely. I'll see you around town.
Yep. Have a great holiday.
All right, guys. Have a great one. All right, guys. I know Mike had to run, so I wanted to let him hop off as quickly as possible. Anyways, for those who got to watch the show, thanks again for watching, and thanks for being just a big supporting factor in why we continue to do what we do. And so I'm going to go ahead and conclude the show. Remember to subscribe for free at cityclips.net. We're excited about our upcoming guests. We actually have guests lined up potentially to February. So if you're interested in being on the show, we'd love to have you. Please reach out to me again. All right. See you guys next time.